LilyHarvord. I know I promised more videos this summer, and this is the first in 2 videos that's coming out for the summer. So as you can see today, this week has been Survivor Book Week for me, reading books about zombie apocalypses and whatnot. And the book behind me that you see, this book is actually a little not well known. It's very quiet, hasn't had a big break yet, and the book is called Monument 14. Now, this book takes place in the future. Not sure how far in the future, but pretty far in the future, to the point where iPads are now the size of your watch, and they just sit on your wrist, and they're called mini tabs, and it's so cute and iPad-y, and so it's like a cell phone, iPad, everything mixed together, and it all goes on a little thingy on your watch. It's pretty cool. And so pretty much this book it's really good. I was really drawn in from the beginning because the book it centers around these teenagers and these kids that get stuck in this apocalypse kind of thing, and they get stuck in a giant superstore. Now, if you were to get stuck in an apocalypse, the best place to get stuck would probably be a supermarket, right? Like a superstore kind of thing, like an IKEA or a Bed Bath & Beyond. I don't know. Some place that has like food, Walmart. It's like a Walmart. They get stuck in a Walmart. Think of it that way. And so what happens is these kids get stuck in a Walmart, and the only adult that is alive with them, I guess, says, I'm gonna go get help. Stay here. Don't leave. So they close the gates of the store because the riot gates close, and the kids get stuck inside, and they have to live. And what happens is a bunch of catastrophes start happening. Like there was hail at one point, that's what got them stuck in the store. Then there was a nuclear power plant explosion, and the power plant explosion pretty much had this chemical in it that made people either go crazy, become unfertile, or to have these weird sores. And so what happens is pretty much the kids have to deal with all this, and they have to think and use what's around them, which is why I personally love the story, because it's such a Hunger Games kind of story, survival of the fittest kind of things. And the story is narrated from first person by a guy named Dean. Now, Dean is about 16, 17 years old. He's a junior, and he has a crush on a girl named Astrid. Now, don't ask me why, but I feel like all apocalypse kids get stuck in a place stories has a person named Astrid. I mean, in the Gone series, there was the chick named Astrid who was the super smart person, and you always have that one guy that's trying to be awesome, and he's just not making it. And then you have the super jock, and then you just have everybody. You have like every class of high school society or something put in that story. And that's what happened in this story. You have like everybody. You had like the Boy Scout, you had the quiet guy who was Dean, you have the genius who's like a tech genius who is Dean's brother, you have this jock, you have the jock girl whose name is Astrid and who our main character is so infatuated with, and you just have those kind of characters all the way through. And what happens in the story is the romance is, yes, a little kind of and you're kind of like, whoa, that was pretty strong there. And there is strong language and all that, because it's a book where it's meant for young adults, high school kids, it's meant for teenagers to read. And pretty much, if I was stuck in an apocalypse and I was stuck in an abandoned warehouse place, this book would be the first thing in my backpack. Sorry. First thing that I would take with me, and water. Water in this book, because this book would tell me how to survive, so it's all good. Pretty much what happens is these kids have to deal with things going on, and as I said earlier, the nuclear power plant explosion causes chemicals to get in the air, and then there's the 3 types of people, the 3 blood types. You have A, AB, B, and then O. And type O gets like sores, I think. And then type B, you don't get anything. You're unfertile for the rest of your life. And stuff like that, your hormones shut down. And then type A is you go absolutely bonkers and you kill a bunch of people. And our main character, Dean, is type A, so he has to deal with not killing people. And so now that I've kind of gone over the story and you know the story a little bit, I'm going to talk about the book as I think it was and why I gave it, or the rating I gave it. I personally thought the book had a really good start. It was a little too quick for me, though, because it was as if the second page of the book, the first disaster took place, and you were like, whoa, there's no explanation for why the disaster took place. It just took place. Hail just started falling from the sky in chunks that were bigger than cars and just smashed a bunch of stuff, and then the kids get in the warehouse, and it was just kind of like, whoa, really, really, really quick start. Can I have, like, an introduction, maybe, you know? Like, I don't know, two scientists or something talking about crap that's gonna go down. But, personally, I thought it was a great plot, and I know from a writer's experience that it is impossible to write when your characters are trapped in one place. You have, like, one setting, and you're just like, oh, I really want them to go to, like, a river or something, or I really want them to go here, but there is no river, there is no that. And so you're stuck in this one building, and you're trying to, like, fit a story, and this book milks about 320 pages in one setting. So you're kind of like, wow, good for them to be able to get that out. The climax of the story was amazing. Once you hit the rising action, you start going, you cannot stop reading. You cannot. You're reading, and the climax hits and you go, no, and everything's huge and awesome. Now, and it had a great action-packed ending. I loved the ending personally. The ending was awesome. I wanted to die a little inside when I saw it. I was just like, oh, but it was a good ending. You have feelings for these characters in the end. Some of the things that I didn't like so much about the story were, technically the writer killed off a character in the kind of middle of the story. They just kind of shoot a character off to the side and said, okay, that character is gone, let's move on to these characters, nobody else to worry. This characters, they'll come back. Don't worry, they'll come back. And you're just like, but they're not back till, like, the very end. And you're just like, oh, I like that character, why don't I get to learn more about them? And you're like, oh. And I don't want to ruin the story for you guys, but you do know that there is a set thing for apocalypse stories. Every apocalypse story follows a set procedure. You have the disaster, your main characters finding out about each other, main character dies, or some character dies or disappears, another disaster hits, they have to deal with the disaster, and then you have the end, and in the end, generally, someone dies or somebody's pregnant. Just saying, that's how disaster stories work for me. And generally, that or you have the group splitting up, so that you can make another, so you can keep writing the story, and you can write about this group, and you can write about that group. And that's sadly what this story follows. It does follow the same path as other Survivor stories, which I didn't like so much, because I was waiting for the writer to surprise me and be like, boo, this is entirely different from what you thought, and I was going to be like, whoa, I was totally ready for that surprise, never got it. Also, the book is like, if I had to rate the book, like, on a G to R scale, it's like a PG-13R book. There's strong language, and the themes in the book are just, whoa, way too much. It is definitely meant to be read if you are over, like, 15. Because you won't get what's going on some of the times. You'll be like, ew, that's gross. Why are they what? And it's a book about teenagers stuck in a room together where there's, like, 3 girls and a bunch of guys. Come on. And they have a bunch of little kids with them and stuff like that. And you're like, oh, things are gonna get saucy. And they do get saucy and whatnot. And sorry. There's just some books I can read that you can give me those themes and I'll be like, okay, innuendos, okay. But when it gets too in-depth, I go, yeah, no, stop. Putting the book down, calming myself so that I don't, like, go, ew, what? And then going back to reading it. And I hate it when I have to do that, when I have to put a book down because the theme is so just intense and there's no innuendo. It's past innuendo in this book, pretty much. It's solid there, and you're just like, nice. Thanks for sharing. But at the end of the day, the story is a solid 9.5 stars. I only took, well, I should probably take a whole point off for the strong language and themes and killing off a character, technically, but I gave it 9.5 because I can deal with the character being kicked out because they do come back, and I can deal with the themes and the strong language because I am a teenager and I go to high school and I know all that crap. But so in the end, the book is a 9.5 stars. I personally thought it was solid. I loved it. And I think if you're really into survival stories, you're going to like it too. You're going to really feel for the characters and all that. So this is all a now shorter review. I'm not going to be going so in depth into books. I'm going to kind of sit on the outskirts and just talk to you about what I thought of them. So since this week is Survival Book Week, the next book I'm going to be reviewing is The Maze Runner, so you can check that out, and I'm going to be posting that really soon. Alright, bye!